So as we move on now to the eighth element of the proclamation of the kerygma, I bring your attention to this picture of a billboard. Maybe you've seen ads like this on billboards or on the internet for the University of Phoenix, in which a student of the university proudly proclaims, "I am a Phoenix." Now that's really making a commitment. That's hitching your wagon to a star. And at some point, every consumer makes a commitment and goes with a certain brand name. And advertisers like to show someone who is committed to their product in hopes that it's going to inspire others to do the same. Well, in our proclamation of the gospel, at some point we need to invite people also to make a commitment. You know, St. Peter did just that when Jesus asked, "Who do you say that I am?" And while the other apostles sort of, shifted their eyes and looked at their sandals, Peter spoke up. He said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Peter was throwing caution to the wind and hitching his wagon to this star named Jesus. And even though he wavered from that commitment when the going got rough, Peter found forgiveness, and he was able to recommit himself to Jesus and to his mission. So when we make this commitment, we put our whole self into it, and we basically say, okay, there's no turning back. Let's do this. That kind of commitment leads to a certain confidence, or as St. Paul referred to it in his letter to the Ephesians, a boldness of speech. A person who's made a commitment to Christ is able to speak boldly about Christ. And in our proclamation of the gospel, we need to invite others to make a commitment and to begin proclaiming what we ourselves have been proclaiming to them. That's really the nature of the word catechesis, which means to echo back the teaching. So as we're proclaiming the good news to those we teach, we need to immediately begin inviting them to proclaim it to others. We should not be waiting for people to graduate, so to speak, from a catechetical program before offering them opportunities to show their commitment. We have to treat them like apprentices, like we see in this construction picture. We need to step aside, let them do what followers of Christ do under our mentorship, so that their commitment to Christ can begin to deepen before our very eyes. And finally, we come to our last element of the kerygma, and that is discipleship and evangelization. I'm sure you recognize some of the famous spokespeople on this screen. We see Wilford Brimley for Liberty Medical Insurance, and Jennifer Hudson for Weight Watchers, Bill Cosby for Jell-O, and Ellen DeGeneres for CoverGirl. The message that they're sending out as spokespeople is that they have tried this product, they like this product, and they are committed to the product, and they want you to do the same. So the final element in the proclamation of the gospel is that moment when the one who has been the apprentice now becomes a fellow disciple. And the entire process begins all over again. This individual now assumes the role that you once played for him or her. In advertising, it's called becoming a spokesperson. St. Paul said that in discipleship, it's called becoming an ambassador for Christ. I'd like to think that the first ambassador for Christ was his mother Mary. The moment that she embraced her calling, when she made a commitment to being the mother of God's Son, she swung into action. The Gospels say that she went in haste to visit her cousin Elizabeth. She literally carried the good news of Jesus to someone in need. And the result was that Elizabeth felt life stir within her. So the final step in the proclamation of the gospel is to make sure that those that we've proclaimed it to are equipped to go forth and to bring the good news to where it's needed most, especially where people are experiencing crisis. You know, it's interesting to note that the Chinese word for crisis is made up of two symbols, one that hints at the notion of danger, and the other symbol that hints at the notion of opportunity. Discipleship and evangelization require us to bring the good news to those in crisis, whether that crisis be caused by illness, unemployment, unwanted pregnancy or an abortion, death, divorce, homelessness, or imprisonment. And when we do so, we seize the opportunity to snatch hope from the jaws of despair. That's what St. Francis of Assisi had in mind when he prayed the words, "Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injury, pardon. Where there's doubt, faith. Where there's despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. And where there's sadness, joy." You may have heard this story before and seen this picture of the statue of Jesus without hands. And we're told that following World War II, some German students volunteered to help rebuild a cathedral in England, one that had been badly damaged by the bombings. And as the work progressed, they weren't sure how to best restore the statue. They used to have an inscription in front of it saying, "Come unto me." Since they weren't able to rebuild the hands, they put a new sign up that said, "Christ has no hands but ours." And the phrase, "Christ has no hands but ours," is a reference to this prayer by St. Teresa of Avila. And let it be our prayer as we enter into this Lent and as we bring this webinar to a close during this year of faith. Lord Christ, you have no body on earth but ours, no hands but ours, no feet but ours. Ours are the eyes through which your compassion must look out on the world. Ours are the feet by which you may still go about doing good. Ours are the hands with which you bless people now. Bless our minds and bodies, that we may be a blessing to others. Amen.